passed him pretty far by now.
We'll fight according to the Marquis of Queensberry rule.
Let's show him what we do to killers.
This is getting monotonous.
That's what I call a real bad man.
He's on the side of the law, Buck. We're all on the side of the law. I'm gonna blow him in half.
Death Valley Days was one of the longest-running series in the history of television. The stories were all based on the lore and legends of Death Valley, California. Mostly, they tended to be human interest stories, sometimes little more than vignettes from the days when miners and homesteaders first fanned out across the western United States in search of a better life. Hundreds of actors appeared in the series, most of them not big names, but there were exceptions. Jane Russell, Rory Calhoun, Fess Parker, and Clint Eastwood, to name a few. But the emphasis of the series was clearly on the story. The only regular was the host and narrator, Stanley Andrews, as the old ranger. When Andrews left the series in the mid-1960s, he was succeeded by Ronald Reagan, who dropped out after he was elected governor of California in 1966. Our story concerns a tiny town in Nevada known as Austin. While the citizens of Austin are being sold on the benefits of Ogallala Indian magic elixir by snake oil salesman Dr. Bill Breckenridge, the railroad the townspeople have invested their money in is dying. If rails aren't laid across the city limit by midnight, the railway and the money will be lost. The salesman has a solution to the problem, but will reveal it only for a price. David Jansen stars in this Old West saga, Deadline at Austin.
You take it easy, Mayor. It's hot out here.
I'm all right. Well past noon, Mr. Farrell.
We still got till midnight.
And how many miles to go?
You ought to know, Governor. Your spies have been clocking us.
It's not my railroad. It's your railroad.
No, it's Austin's railroad.
Farrell's Folly, that's what they call it.
Not after midnight.
No, then they'll call it Farrell's Failure.
Death Valley Days. Howdy, folks. I'm the old ranger. You talk about fiddling while Rome burns. Here in Austin, Nevada, in the year 1880, the town folks are listening to a spellbinder, while outside of town a frantic race against time is underway, as the backers of the narrow-gauge Nevada Central Railroad struggle to lay the last miles of track before the deadline at Austin.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, I know you're going to find this hard to believe. I found it hard to believe myself. This man right here was once a puny weakling. And now he's one of the finest physical specimens you've ever seen. Isn't that right, sir? Of course it is. What caused this magical transformation? Well, I'll tell you, folks, a potion of desert herbs and minerals concocted by the ancient medicine men of the Ogallala tribe. And it's all right here in this bottle, ladies and gentlemen. The Ogallala Indian Magic Elixir. For just $1.
Will it cure lumbago?
Absolutely, sir.
How about corns?
I've had hundreds of letters praising this elixir as a sure cure for that particular affliction.
Well, I'll take a bottle.
Yes, sir. Very wise man, sir. There you are. Now, who else? There you are, sir. Now, who else? Just a minute, sir.
Listen, folks, while you're standing here listening to this quack, the railroad you got your money in is dying. Now, you know if those rails aren't across the city limits by midnight, we're going to lose that $200,000 subsidy. And we've been counting on it to pay back the money we've invested.
What do you expect us to do about it, Mr. Farrell?
Well, I expect every man in this town to get out there and help those railroad track layers beat the deadline. Because if you don't, we'll be living in a ghost town. Broke. Well, let's go.
That flannel mouth sure ruined a good pitch.
Yeah, $2.
Now, Ruth, the supplies ought to be just about ready. Be right back.
Hey, that's an interesting bit of conversation.
She sure is.
Maybe she needs a doctor. Pardon me, miss. You seemed a little concerned. I thought maybe I could help.
I'm afraid not.
Well, when you were talking to that fella, you seemed a little nervous. I specialize in tension and nervous disorders.
Oh?
Is he bothering you, Ruth?
No, he was just leaving.
Take these out to your father. I'll meet you there. Tell him to take it easy. He won't be any good to anybody working himself to death. Or worrying himself to death. See you later.
Excuse me, miss. I couldn't help overhearing about your father. I'm a doctor.
I'm afraid this doesn't call for a doctor.
Yeah, well, sometimes it helps to talk into a sympathetic, unbiased ear. Why don't you tell me about it?
Well, my father's the mayor. He feels responsible to the people of Austin about this railroad.
What about a railroad?
Well, Papa and Mr. Farrell got the legislature to pass a $200,000 subsidy to help build a branch line from the Central Pacific here into Austin so the mines could ship their ore at a decent price. The governor vetoed the subsidy.
Why?
Personal reasons. My father once accused him of corruption.
So?
So Papa got the legislature to pass the subsidy over the veto.
That must have made the governor happy.
Very. Papa raised the money right here in Austin from the miners and the businessmen and the ranchers. The money was to be paid back out of the subsidy when the railroad was finished.
Well, that's our procedure.
Well, it would have been, but we had, bad weather, washouts, Indian raids, and it stopped the laying of the track. The subsidy expires at 12 midnight tonight. If the tracks haven't reached the city limits, that's the deadline.
Now, how far out of the tracks now?
About 8 miles.
It's 10 minutes past 4. You think they'll make it?
I don't see how they can.
Why don't we drive out and see your father? I'd like to talk to him.
About what?
Maybe I can help him.
Well, like I said, I don't think this calls for a doctor.
Well, just consider me a friend.
You and your men are really doing a splendid job, Mayor. To understand they laid the last mile of track in slightly over an hour.
We'll make it.
Sure you will. Only got 8 miles to go in 7.5 hours. You're whipped and you know it, Woodruff. You're bankrupt and through politically at midnight.
We're not giving up, Lem.
Don't start your celebrations yet.
Ain't you done enough harm? Papa. Dr. Breckenridge!
Hey, come on, back away from here. Give him some air. You got some water, some brandy, something like that? I got some whiskey. His pulse is weak, but it's steady. Oh, he'll be all right. You take it easy, Your Honor. Just rest a while.
Do as the doctor says, Papa. The doctor knows best.
Doctor? He's no doctor. He's a medicine show man. He was back in town trying to sell some phony elixir for $1 a bottle.
Is that true? Please help me take my father to the buckboard.
Okay, man, back to work.
Hi. She made you walk home?
Yeah.
There's a girl that knows character.
Well, I like to be reminded of my character weaknesses, especially in front of large groups. I don't like walking 8 miles through the desert. Somebody's gonna have to pay for that little hike. Yeah, throw me a towel, will you?
You picked out a victim?
No, not yet.
Hey, now don't connive us into a lot of trouble, Doctor. There are plenty other towns.
Yeah, well, not with this particular problem. I think I'll go visiting.
Where?
See a lady friend?
You want me to follow you in a hack to drive you back?
No, you just sit right there and think of the best way for us to spend $5,000.
Look.
Now, believe it or not, I want to help. I'd like to speak to your father.
Well, he doesn't want to talk to you, so please go away.
And, not until I've made him a proposition.
Why don't you leave us alone?
Because you need me. I'm the only one that can solve your problems.
Papa, Dr. Breckenridge wants to talk to you. He thinks he has an answer to your troubles.
I don't need a tin horn to tell me how to handle my business.
You got nothing to lose by listening, sir.
Speak your piece.
Now, every problem has some answer. Now, you want to get the railroad tracks over the city limits by midnight, isn't that right, sir?
Right.
Well, I have the answer.
If you have, you're the only man in town who does.
Well, that's what makes it so valuable. With it, you can save the $200,000 subsidy. And without it, you'd be living in a ghost town, isn't that right, sir?
I'll never mind the fancy talk. If you've got a way to beat that deadline, I want to hear it now.
Well, you will, sir. After you pay me $5,000.
Just about what I expected from a tin horn. I haven't got $5,000. But if I had $5 million, I wouldn't give you 1 cent of it.
Well, isn't it worth $5,000, sir, to save that subsidy? Isn't it worth $5,000 to keep your friends from losing all they've invested? Well, think it over, sir.
Ruth, show Dr. Breckenridge out.
And don't bother. You change your mind, you let me know before midnight.
Dr. Breckenridge? Dr. Breckenridge?
Meet you at the saloon for dinner. Good evening.
I'm
glad your father changed his mind.
My father didn't send me. I came on my own.
Oh.
Papa really doesn't have the $5,000.
Well, he could raise it.
No, he couldn't. The house is mortgaged and all of his friends have their cash invested in the railroad.
Well, that settles that, doesn't it?
Bill, do you really know how we could save the subsidy?
Well, I told you I had the answer. I'm going to keep it unless somebody pays for it.
Is money really the only thing you ever care about?
Name me something more important.
There's honesty and integrity.
Can you back it? There's no sense in not talking, Ruthie. We're at opposite ends of the stick.
I'm not so sure of that.
Have you ever been hungry?
No,
Have you ever gone for weeks at a time without a roof over your head?
no.
Well, I have.
That's all over with now.
That doesn't mean it's forgotten.
You have a chance to help someone in trouble. A man who's devoted his whole life to others.
A man I hardly know.
Think what you could do for the whole town. You could help hundreds of fine people.
It may come as a shock to you, but Austin doesn't mean anything to me. Just a town I'm passing through. I don't owe it anything, do I?
You don't owe me anything either. But I'd be grateful to you for the rest of my life if you give us the answer.
Well, I'll lower my price to $2,500.
I'm sorry I troubled you.
Hey, keep that glasses straight, bartender. Fill mine up again, too. You men know who got you into all this trouble. Your mayor.
He's not such a bad guy.
Didn't he get you to invest your money in this railroad thing? But you're going to lose it at midnight. That's why I have Mr. Smith here, the Attorney General of the state of Nevada, to come down. Smith, I want you to tell these men just what's going to happen.
A pleasure, Governor. That $200,000 subsidy which your mayor pushed through the legislature over our governor's veto will be forfeited at midnight if the tracks of your branch railroad have not crossed the city limits of Austin. It's the governor's duty to forfeit that fund. And my duty is his legal aid to attest to the legality of the move.
No, I don't like that fellow.
Which one?
Take your choice. You're getting a big kick out of wrecking this town.
This is some of your business?
It just might be, just might be.
I buy you a drink, Doctor?
I buy my own drinks, thanks.
Well, I thought you would like to have a free drink.
Governor! Just why don't you want Austin to have a railroad?
I don't think you're interpreting this correctly, Doctor. This is strictly a legal question.
Well, then why did you veto the subsidy? Isn't it because you wanted to get even with a man who knew too much about you?
I don't have to answer the insolent questions of an itinerant peddler.
Governor, you know, you're very lucky that the tracks didn't reach the city limits. They could have.
It's after 11 o'clock, Doctor. The tracks are over 1.5 miles from Austin's limits. There isn't a chance in the world of Austin fulfilling its obligations.
Yeah, well, don't start celebrating then. They could still beat you.
It's utterly impossible to get the railroad into the city in less than an hour. Unless that magic elixir of yours can lay track.
Well, I can't lay track, Governor. But it just might stop your clock.
A very emotional young man.
Ruth, someone at the door.
I've changed my mind about the money. I'd like to talk to your father. Your Honor, if you want to save that subsidy and your town, you do what I tell you.
Are you giving me orders?
Well, yes, sir, I am. It's not going to cost you a thing. I want you to call a meeting of the town council down at the saloon right away.
Those men are way out at the tracks.
Well, please drive out and get them.
I'd like to know what you want, Breckenridge.
Well, I want you to get that council meeting called to order before midnight. I'll save your railroad for you. I'm trying to help him.
We've got nothing to lose, Papa.
That's right. Bring my hat and coat. I'll harness up the buckboard.
$11.52. What do you suppose is holding him up?
Here they are now. Is everyone here?
Everyone.
I want all the members of the Austin Common Council to come to order. As mayor of the city of Austin, I now declare that an extraordinary meeting of the Austin Common Council is in legal session.
I protest this farce. This is highly illegal.
Take it easy, will you,
I will
Governor?
not take
Roy,
it
will
easy.
you
I'm
keep
going
in
to-
company?
Go ahead, Your Honor.
This session has been called in order to hear a suggestion from Dr. Breckenridge.
Go ahead, Doctor. It's only a few minutes before midnight, so I'll make it a short speech. And now everyone knows that a town with a railroad is a town that grows. New industry, new wealth, new citizens. Now, Austin is only 1.5 miles from having that railroad. It's within the power of the Common Council to extend the western city limits 1.5 miles.
Now, see here.
Make room for the new industry, the new citizens, and the new wealth. Now, if the motion to extend the city limits out beyond the tracks is passed before midnight, all the obstacles between the city and the granting of the subsidy will be removed.
This is a subterfuge. It's illegal. Don't listen to this faker.
It's absolutely legal, and you know it.
Give them your opinion on that, Mr. Attorney General.
Well, it's certainly an unusual procedure.
But legal.
Well, I wouldn't care to give an opinion on that phase of it till I'd studied the situation for precedents and...
Tell them it's illegal. A travesty.
Mr. Smith, I've got a gun right under this hat. Now, you know that motion's perfectly legal. You're just stalling for midnight. Now, I want you to tell the people that the motion is legal, or I'll have to use this gun.
In my opinion, this meeting of the council is legal. It is their right to extend the limits of Austin at their discretion.
I make a motion that the legal city limits of Austin be extended 1.5 miles in a westerly direction to a point just beyond the existing railroad tracks. All in favor, vote aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Congratulations, Your Honor.
Well, thank you.
No one in the whole town knows how to thank you for everything that you've done.
It was the first time I ever did anything without putting a price on it.
Feel good?
Huh? But it could get to be habit forming.
You will be coming back.
Would you want me to?
Bill, we've 30 miles to go today. Better get started.
Yeah, well, maybe I will be back. I gotta get a few things straightened out first. Namely me.
And so Austin got its railroad, which operated for nearly 60 years, when motor trucks took over the hauling of freight. In an old copy of the Austin paper, the Daily Reveille of May 16, 1885, I came upon this timetable of the Nevada Central Railroad, published for the convenience of the traveling public. There was one train a day in each direction between Austin and Battle Mountain. It took 6 hours over the tracks, which the people of Austin built with such frantic haste to the newly extended limits of their city.
I'll be with you again 1 week from now with another exciting Death Valley Day story. And until then, I'll say, so long.